coach, offensive coordinator, Dave Patenaude. I'll open right up for questions for Coach Patenaude.
Obviously, in the first two games, kind of different game plans going into the offense. I imagine you're still trying to figure out kind of what the thing is that's going to be the backbone of the offense. I know that offensive coordinators like to have something they know that they can call, or a sequence of plays. Is that kind of still something you're searching for?
I wouldn't say as much searching for as, trying to define the roles for everybody, and, really finding that thing that we can hang our hat on. It goes, again, it always goes from game to game, and, we were going to be a little bit more aggressive throwing the ball last Saturday, and then we lost a couple offensive linemen inside, so we were getting a little bit of pressure. We kind of went back to a run game. So, sometimes you have the best laid plans, and then you get into the game, and those things that you think are going to be great aren't working. Some of the things are, and you just have to kind of, go series to series, put it together as to what you think is going to be the best way to be able to move the ball, and that's kind of how we approach it throughout the, basically from the middle of the first quarter on.
What kind of job do you think the offensive line has done so far in allowing the quarterbacks to go through their progressions?
I mean, the issue on Saturday was that we lost those two guys right out of the box very quickly, and so we had to put, Will Gay came in and played, well for us, and so when you're mixing and matching a bunch of guys like that, it's difficult to get their feet on the ground early in the game. I thought we settled down as we went. If you look at our pass efficiency, I know it's not a ridiculous step. I mean, 14 pass completions, at Georgia Tech in the game is like the most in like 5 years. So, I thought we were really efficient throwing the ball. I think we need to be more explosive, be able to throw it down the field a little bit more. And that was just basically a matter of, South Florida's front is really athletic. They were getting really good pressure. So, we had to go to a more controlled passing game. And then really, we had to play team football at that point. At that point, the defense was playing really well. We weren't going to take a lot of chances. There was some third and longs that, we threw the ball underneath or ran the ball where we weren't going to put our defense in a bad position. And certainly at the end of the game, we ran a little bit more. So we didn't, I thought our pass numbers were solid. Our completions were solid. Our efficiency was solid. But, we need to create more explosive plays in the pass game. That really starts up front with the protection.
Here, Lucas, it was the first time he really played in a long time in a game since he was in high school, 4 years ago. And I'm curious, and I remember Coach was saying how he plays so well in practice, and I'm curious, do you see that that's got to be a process of, just getting reps and in your offense and just getting more comfortable and developing as a
I thought he played really well in the spring. And then when we came back, I thought he had a good summer. I thought he had a good camp. And then, the more you put in and the more looks that you get, and, the deeper and deeper you go into the catalog of all the things that you can run, I think it's just a matter of guys getting caught up again. And him really shaking the rust off and getting out there under game situations, getting tapped around a little bit. He took off running on, one of the first plays of the game and got whacked on the sideline and bounced right back up. And I think he had a good look about him. He spotted the ball really well. He knew where he wanted to go with it. I thought his command was pretty good. He played, he only got, in the first game, he only got the 3 throws, right? He was, maybe he was like 1 on 3 or whatever. He did a good job of handling the game well. He checked the protections. He's really starting to get the hang of all of that stuff. And I thought really he ran the ball well. He's deceptively athletic. He doesn't have the quickness that Tobias or James has, but when he gets rolling, he can really run. So I thought that he put that on tape, which was good for us overall.
Naturally, everyone saw that Jordan had a solid day Saturday. I think you mentioned you wanted him to do a better job of getting out of the backfield and getting involved in the passing game. What are you seeing there?
Man, there was a couple blitz pickups that were textbook. He came, the linebacker came on an inside stunt in the second quarter, and he stepped up and stoned the kid right in the hole. He's been really fantastic the last few weeks of understanding protections. He's our third down back because of the protections. And, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities to get the ball out of the backfield. We've been, more conservative with not emptying the backfield out as much and not free releasing the back as much. So his development has really been spectacular, and that was a career high rushing for him. And he's deceptively quick because he broke a couple of those runs, and when he broke the run, he had to make a guy miss in the hole. He had a great run. And then when it came down to he had to put his pads down and get yards, he was able to do that too. So I'm really happy with where he is there.
I was wondering, looking back over your history as a coordinator, have you ever had this many packages for specific personnel groupings before?
Yeah, I think, our last year at Coastal, we lost our quarterback. We ended up playing like 8 guys. One guy was a wide receiver, one guy was the second baseman on the baseball team. He was my intern, and he had to play. And we had just gone through a bunch of different guys. One guy had a season-ending injury. Our starter was hurt before the season started, and I think we ended up going like 10-2. But it was a totally different package, and it was different week to week, just based on who was healthy and who you had available. And so sometimes you have to put the pieces together like that. I think the cool thing right now is when you have to defend us and you're watching tape, you're like, okay, if this kid's in, these are the 5 things we have to stop. If this kid's in, these are the 5 things we have to stop. And it makes us much more dynamic having to be able to stop all that stuff. And it's not textbook. It's not anything that you might say, hey, are you comfortable with that? But I'm really comfortable with how the guys are playing. Just to give you an overall answer on how they played. All 3 of the guys graded at least 40% better than they graded at Clemson, and they all played at a winning number. So when we could get that kind of production from the 3 guys collectively, I think that's pretty, that's a pretty good day.
The tight end, and particularly Tyler, you've had a little bit of trouble trying to get him the football, and obviously the game plans have kind of maybe not given him the best opportunity to show what his skill set is. Is this an opportunity maybe to kind of showcase him a little more? And is that something that you have in the back of your mind? Because I know how high you are on him. And
sure. When we were backed up on the goal line and we had to make a play, we threw it to him. Right. So, that was one of the turning points in the game. Right there was the unbelievable defensive stop, and then us being on the 1 or 2 yard line and having to get it out of there. And that was a huge drive for us to be able to move the ball out of there. And that first play, we said, they're going to just come after us in the run game. We got to get the ball on the edge. And we called it for Tyler, and we made a nice block on the edge. We kind of picked the guy. The ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, just like a tight end screen. And he rumbled on the sideline for it. As the season goes, and he's out there, he's going to get his numbers. It's just a matter of where we are in the game and what kind of game we're in. And in that situation, in the second half, had they gone up and we had to spin it a little bit more, he probably would have got some more chances. But, if you're trying to get into that 4-minute offense and seal the game and play good team football and let an All-American punter punt him in and play unbelievable defense like they've played all day, sometimes you're not just going to go out there and sling the ball around. So those guys aren't getting as many chances. You could probably say the same thing about Malachi Carter and Camp and those guys, right? They're like really good players, and are they going to get their numbers? They'll get their numbers, I think, when we're in a situation where we got to sling the ball around, or we feel really good about the game plan, and it dictates that we can spin the ball a little bit more and take some shots down the field.
A couple more for Coach Patenaude.
There was a play, it was a swing pass to the right. I think it was to Jordan, and it got tackled for a loss. And it was like on the other side of the field, there was a screen.
Mm-hmm.
To me, just looking at it, it sort of felt like if you go the way it did, if Zach had just been able to get his body on the defensive end and drop, that the play works out a lot better. Or if you go the other way, the screen looked like that was up.
Yeah, so that's a double screen, right? It's a double screen. It's all based on the read. It's all based on what people are doing, what they're taking away. We threw it, I want to say the 3rd or 4th play of the game, I want to say it was, to Dante, and he caught it for like a 12 or 13 yard gain. Same play, same read, good throw, missed block at the point of attack, which unfortunately would have sprung us for a big one. But, and then you read it, you have the backside screen and the backside. So if they take one screen away, you throw the other screen. So, a lot of that is going to be dictated by what the defense plays.
But, it sort of felt like maybe there's a lot of plays like that where, you look at 14 points, whatever the yards per average was. But a lot of those things are kind of happening where,
Yeah. I mean, there is probably conservatively 8 or 9 plays that were a step away or just falling off a block or just missing, like the throw at the end of the game to Camp down the seam, right? We missed that by 4 inches, right? If we put that ball on him or he's another yard deeper in that route, that's a 30-yard completion, and the stats look a lot cooler. If we make a block, it's a little bit, you missed this one, or we might have missed a twist pickup. There was another one where we ran a double cut to Malachi Carter, who was wide open down the sideline, but one of the inside guys slipped off. So it's team football, right? I mean, our whole thing with the GT is rooting this together. We can't do it without all 11 guys performing. When we do, and the majority of the guys do what they're supposed to do, and they do their job, then we've been very, very good. Our 2 biggest things are we cannot play behind the sticks, so our tackle for losses has to get adjusted, and it has been addressed. That's where we got hurt, and that's counting sacks. But we can't get tackled behind the line. We can't play behind the sticks. And then our third and short run game has to be more efficient. Those are the 2 biggest things, and those have been addressed on Sunday, and they will continue to be.
In the past year, when the team's gotten up, they've worked on passing and that kind of thing. Is that something you're not opposed to doing if you get up in a game, say you're playing FCS team? Not counting down the Citadel or anything, but just as a rule, if you get ahead, that seems like an area where you guys could use some work. Will that be an opportunity maybe to chuck the ball around a little bit? Just to
I think we're going to try to come out and be as balanced as we possibly can be. And I think you got to be able to run the ball first no matter what. Our run numbers have been really good. When you look at our statistics per run and per carry, and our run efficiency that we break down by formation, by scheme, and by game, our overall run numbers have been really good. Our biggest issue is that the bad ones have been really bad. You know what I mean? So you can't have a 0-yard deal or you get TFL'd or something like that. Like if you get a couple of yards on a run and they make a good play, you can live with it. You go to the next play. Right? So we have to eliminate our 0 or minus yardage runs to be able to set the throws up. And then, one of the biggest things is when you can do that, you can play action and you can put the ball down the field. And so if they don't think that you're going to be able to do that, then they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage. So at some point, those shots are going to start to come in, and we'll be able to move people back off. By opponent, it doesn't really matter. I think we'll go out and do whatever we have to do to score as many points as we can.
Last one right here with Rob.
Jordan and Jerry are both hard runners. Dante Smith maybe gives you a different dynamic. Has he progressed to the point where you can get him more involved in the offense?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable with those guys. We talked about it a lot on Sunday. JP got the majority of the carries and plays, and he was excellent. Played excellent, obviously. But we have a good group of guys there, and do we need to have more packages to be able to get those guys on the field to be able to utilize Dante or Jamias or Malloy or Jerry or Nate Cottrell. You have 5 or 6 guys right there that are good running backs, good players in the league. So you have to be able to find packages to be able to do that. The interesting thing we always talk about is, well, if you take them off, if you put them on the field, then you take the tight end off the field. You take the tight end off the field, then you're not in your package with James and Tobias. So it's kind of trying to find ways to get all of those guys involved. But I really like the development of the running backs. Tashard has done a tremendous job with those guys. We feel good about putting a lot of those guys in the game.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.